going back on. It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Armulists. Let me get this right. Here we go. You guys hear me okay? How is everybody this evening? Hold on, I can't see chat. 1 second. Chat. Cool. Okay. Yes, we're good. I'm going to jinx the food. Oh, I just want to keep an eye on the score. I'm not watching it, man. I could be watching it, but I thought I'd rather be here with you guys. I'm doing good as long as as long as Scotland stay winning. I'm doing good. Yeah. Put it over here. I'm really not happy with the Scotland team, I'll tell you that, because I'm just not happy with the lineup. I would have picked a different Scottish team. So I'm not watching it because I'm very passionate about football, almost to a point where, like, I feel like, you know, when you're in the car and someone in the back seat's telling you directions, that's what I am. Like, I feel like I would do a better job at managing Scotland than the Scottish manager. So I can't. So it's best I don't watch it. So I've got I've got my Blood Angels Codex. My American football team. I know the Giants are playing today. I think that kicked off like 2 hours ago, so I haven't looked at the score, man. So I've got the Codex, and I've got some army lists submitted by some of the channel members. So because I've only got one game under my belt with LAG, which is Liberator Assault Group, I actually have I've got 0 games with Angelic Host. I just noticed that someone has submitted an Angelic Host list. I think we've got 5 people have submitted lag lists. 1 person submitted Angelic Host, 1 person didn't say. So it's going to be a bit of a different show tonight. Normally I'd go through every list in a little bit more detail and give feedback on how we could maybe make the lists better. There's a lot of theoreticals at the moment because people have not played this new detachment. The Codex just was in people's hands yesterday, so to speak, right? So, for example, like I don't have any experience playing Death Company captains, none whatsoever. I don't have any experience playing the new Sanguinary Priest, you know, so it's like I'll give my feedback, especially no experience playing the new Death Company Dreadnought. I don't think anyone's going to have any experience because he's so expensive. Matthew said that his cat would do a better job than the Scotland manager. Okay, so I'm justified in thinking that I would do a better job than the Scotland manager is what you're saying, Matthew. Cool. Okay. I thought it was just me being big-headed or something. I mean, we are beating Portugal. Please let us still win this game. That would be very nice. Then we can basically say, like, who are you, Cristiano Ronaldo? He's kind of past it, though. I say that, he's about to probably bang in some goals against us. But, yeah, good evening. Thanks. I mean, I've done a lot of content this last week, and I think next week's video is going to be all about the starter set and building it into 1,000 point and 2,000 point list, because I've had so many requests about that. I was going to say maybe I'll do a beginner video and a more in-depth video as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I am going to bash out that beginner video in the very near future because people have been asking about that. So let's jump into some of the lists that people have started submitting for the new codex. Okay, so people have only really had the codex like 24 hours. So most of these lists probably have been cooked up in the last 24 hours or so since people got the codex. Like I said, I only played this detachment one time yesterday. I did build Astaroth last night. My Astaroth was very warped on the sprue, but he seems to have come out okay. Like the sprue was all messed up and warped, but he seems like he's okay. Yeah, if you get any value out of tonight's stream at some point, please do consider pressing the like button. Likes help me out so much with the algorithm. In fact, I know likes help me out because on my weekly battle reports, basically any video that gets over 100 likes always gets like a lot more views. So anytime you've got 2 seconds, guys, I do really appreciate it if you have the time to press that like button. Okay, we're going to start with Florian 2712, who has been a member for 2 years, 3 months. We've got some real... I was going to say, it gets a bit crazy how long I've been on YouTube, honestly. It doesn't feel like it's been 4 years. But alright, we're going with the first lag list with the new rules. We're going to have a captain with assault intercessors. We're going to have a Judiciar with a blade guard. We're going to have an Astaroth with death company. And we're going to have a Terminator librarian with terminators. Interesting. So, I imagine probably one of the things we're not going to see very often anymore is... multiple what would you call this, like I don't think we're going to see multiple death companies anymore. We're going to see like one unit of death company. I think gone are the days of like your army list just being full of death company. Hello David, thanks for stopping in. Hello US nobody. You could kit bash a hell of a Gabriel Seth using the jump captain model. The new Blood Angels captain backpack and an eviscerator. I imagine we're going to see some crazy looking Seths. I think that's the only reason they didn't put them in the codex, right? Is because people will kit bash them anyway. So we've got the Blood Angels captain with the mastercrafted chainsword and the infernal pistol, who has the rage-filled warrior. So that gives him maximum devastating wounds potentially. You've been a member for super long, Highland Phoenix, 43 months. Thank you so much. I don't even know if, like, I wouldn't have been able to switch on memberships for the first 4 months of my channel, because it took me like 4 months to get to 1,000 subscribers. So, I mean, I think the longest you could possibly have would have been about 48 months. So thanks so much for subscribing. We've got Astaroth, we've got the Terminator Librarian with the Fight First. I thought we would see some people use this Fight First enhancement on the Terminator Librarian. Are the points right? Terminator Librarian is... how many points? Is he only 75? Sorry, I can't... Terminator Librarian is not a unit that gets played all that often, but I do think it's a strong pick. Because he gives sustained ones to the Terminator. 27 months is not a newbie, Mike. Not at all. Evening, David. How you doing? I don't know what to work on anymore without true points costs. I would work on the new Codex points because I think they will be the smallest changes. I think some units will go up a tad, some units will go down a tad, but I would work with the point. I would make your lists now, unless you're going to a tournament and you're still using the old models, I would use the new stuff. Yeah, okay, so 105 points for the Terminator Librarian with Fight First. I think that's actually genuinely pretty good. You've actually included the Judiciar, you've also included Mephiston, the Lone Warrior. You've got 5 Assault Intercessors, you've got double Impulsors. I think double Impulsor is going to be pretty meta. I kind of feel like I want to actually buy double Impulsor. I only have 1 Impulsor, I kind of feel like I want to buy a second one. We've got 6 Blade Guard. We've got 10 Death Company with jump backs. We've got 2 units of Assault Intercessors. I love small units of Assault Intercessors. I think they're really useful for actions, for like bullying enemy infantry. I think they're just a great unit to have Assault Intercessors. Outriders, 2 units of Outriders. I think Outriders are going to be even better maybe now with the potential 18-inch move, and then charge. Speargrass coming in with a 5 New Zealand dollars. Thank you so much for your New Zealand dollars, dude. I do really appreciate it. I was going to say one day I'm going to go to New Zealand. I swear I'm going to go there one day. We've got Ballistus Dreadnought, we've got a squad of Infiltrators, we've got the Predator Destructor, and we've got the 5 Terminators. Okay, this is a pretty interesting list, actually. Is that the whole list? Yes. So 2,000 points. So Astaroth is the Death Company, a Librarian with the Fight First, and the Terminators. A Ballistus Dreadnought and the Predator giving us some fire support. Infiltrators to hold our backfield. 4 units that can do actions in the Assault Intercessors and Outriders. 10 Death Company with Astaroth. 6 Blade Guard plus the Judiciar. Interestingly, no Sanguinary Guard, Florian. I went to New Zealand to see Hobbiton. I would actually quite like to see Hobbiton. I loved those first 3 Lord of the Rings movies, I must admit. I have a tournament on the 28th, so I'll be sticking to... Yeah, I mean, if you've got a tournament this month, you're using the old rules for sure. But I guess... So if you had a list that you were desperate to get reviewed using the old rules, I could still do that. Captain with Sanguinary Guard or Dante leading the Sanguinary Guard. Sorry, Captain with Jump Pack or Dante. Crispy Delicious, I think in the lag detachment, I would use Dante. I think in the Angelic Host attachment, I would use the Captain. I think the Captain isn't the worst idea in lag detachment, but I like having my Oath of Moment available elsewhere. And I think that's what Dante lets you do. Dante lets you put your Oath of Moment somewhere else. And I think Oath of Moment is strong enough that having it somewhere else is pretty impactful. So very rarely do I ever Oath of Moment Dante's target, because he already gives them +1 to hit, right? So I think this is sort of what the meta might end up looking a bit like. So you've got the Infiltrators in the backfield, you've got like 4 scoring units, and I think the main... You could actually argue you've got 6 scoring units here. Because the best scoring units, I think, for Blood Angels right now are going to be Impulsors, Assault Intercessors, Jump Packs, Outriders, and Scouts. Those 4 units are cheap, they're useful, they can go all over the place. So arguably you've got 6 scoring units in this. You've got that Blade Guard with the Fight First that you can deposit on an objective. You've got that Devastating Wounds Captain with Assault Intercessors you can charge out at. You've got 10 Death Company with Astaroth you can rapid ingress in. You've got the Terminators with a Fight First that you could also rapid ingress in. Then you've got the Ballistus and the Predator to give some fire support. I know you've spent 125 points on Mephiston. He's a doozy for me. I don't know if I feel like he's worth 125 points. We'll have to have some people play him a few times. Hello, Florian. I didn't see you in there in the chat. How you doing? I guess Sanguinary Guard are expensive, but like, are 3 Sanguinary Guard going to be better or worse than Mephiston? Because they're going to be pretty similar in points. I think Sanguinary Guard will really be like 45 points, maybe. I can't imagine that they're going to stay them at 150. My issue with Mephiston is his D3 damage makes it very difficult to use him reliably, right? Like, Izzy the War Master, thanks so much for the $2. You're painting flesh tears from a Blood Angels army. Well, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for supporting. Do really appreciate it. Before I went to my tournament, the tournament I won like 2 months ago, I was running Mephiston attached to Assault Intercessors. And I felt that Mephiston attached to Assault Intercessors was worse than the Captain with Dev Wounds attached to Assault Intercessors. And the Captain with Dev Wounds was like 80 points, and Mephiston was like 100 and some points. So, Mephiston's D3 damage is a huge issue, I find. On paper he looks really good if you average it, but then when you run him in an event and you roll a couple of ones on critical damage rolls, suddenly you've done really badly with him. So I find Mephiston very difficult to play. If he shakes out and he's super meta, I'll be surprised, because not many people took him to competitive events in ninth edition. Like, very few Blood Angels players played Mephiston. You can probably count them on one hand how many Blood Angels players played Mephiston competitive events in ninth edition, and I was one of them. And I came away from the event basically saying the same thing. Like, he's just not reliable enough. You know, on paper, D3 maths out similar to flat 2, but flat 2 is just way more reliable. Because it's like, in any critical roll, you can go, but it can go bad. And for me, it seems like it goes bad more often than it goes good. So, yeah, maybe some people will love Mephiston. Maybe now that he's got basically, because he's a 4-up feel no pain now. Essentially, that's just the equivalent of him having 12 wounds, right? Because if you have 6 wounds, 50% of the time you ignore wounds. Essentially, Mephiston has 12 wounds now. So maybe having a 12 wound Mephiston, maybe it doesn't matter now if he has 1 or 2 turns where he does really badly in combat, because he's got 12 wounds and he sticks around, and 12 wounds is like triple the amount of wounds that like Lamartez and Astaroth have almost, right? Astaroth has 5, Lamartez only has 4. And he has additional toughness as well. And sometimes when you've got those 4-ups, you can 4-up, feel no pain for days, yeah. So maybe we'll see, I guess. I'm yet to be convinced with Mephiston, but everything else in this list looks good. I understand that you lose some speed now to take Terminators rather than like Sangre Guard or Death Company, but I think that because we can advance and charge, the Terminator pick is actually kind of clever. Like, I think it's actually going to be... I think we're going to see more Terminators for Blood Angels now that we have seen in a long, long time. Right, like it's just going to make more sense to have Terminators, and especially with the Librarian giving them sustained. So everybody's got a Power Fist. Everybody has 4 attacks, I believe. If you use it on the with a moment target, they get +1. So you hit on 2s. So hitting on 2s with Power Fists, and you've got sustained. I think it's very good. Okay. Alright, there's a cool list, Florian. I guess we'll see how it shakes out. Overall, though, I think your dynamic of unit choices and what you've got is overall pretty good. I guess the one question mark is going to be Mephiston. We're going to have to... I guess I'm going to have to run Mephiston. I'm going to have to change up my list and get Mephiston into my list and see if he feels like he's good enough to play. I would like him to be good enough to play. I used to play him a lot, I think in like 6th or 7th edition. He used to be really, really good. He used to be an absolute nightmare in melee combat. But he hasn't been for a while. Terminators or Blade Guard out of Land Raider. Well, the cool thing about Blade Guard is they fit nicely in an Impulsor, right? So I would put Terminators in the Land Raider and put your Blade Guard in the Impulsor, because the Blade Guard only take up 1 slot. So... I think as Blood Angels, you're kind of fine to have 2 transports, Eternal Crusader. Alright, we're looking at Brandon Pierce's brushes and blades. Okay, sorry. Bit of a mouthful, this YouTube name. So we've got Captain of the Rage-Filled Warrior with a Power Fist. I think that's totally fine. We've got Mephiston. We've got Dante. We've got the Judiciar with Gift of Foresight. Interesting choice, actually, Gift of Foresight on the Judiciar. The Judiciar sword has dev wounds? I hadn't thought of that, actually. This is why I wanted to do the army show, to see what cool shit people came up with. This is interesting. Judiciar. Because the Judiciar doesn't have an invulnerable save. So basically being able to change a dice to a 6 is actually impactful. Doesn't this sword have dev wounds or something? Yeah, okay, so that's actually an interesting thing that we haven't seen. Because the sword does indeed have dev wounds, and he does also have a crap save. So being able to flip dice to a 6 on the Judiciar is actually pretty good. And Gift of Foresight, let me just read this to you in case you weren't familiar with it. Once per battle round, after making the hit, wound, or saving throw, you can treat the result as a 6. So if you had to make like 2 or 3 saves, you can roll the 2 or 3 saves. If you save them, perfect, no problem. If you don't save them, flip one of them to a 6. And the same thing goes with the dev wounds. You roll out his sword, you roll for wounds, hey, you got 3 wounds, but no dev wounds, we'll change one of your fails into a 6. Yeah, this is a cool combo. Hadn't considered the Judiciar. This is actually good. This is actually pretty good on him, I think. And then you got the Fight First Librarian. We're going to have to watch for Hero Hammer, because there's definitely a temptation to do Hero Hammer, and this is it, right? Like, you got Librarian with Fight First, you got the Judiciar with Gift of Foresight, you got Dante, you got Mephisto, and you've got Captain with Rage-Fueled Warrior. This is a fuckload of points in characters. You got the Assault Intercessor Squad, you got the Double Impulsor, which I think we're going to see even more Double Impulsors. You got the Blade Guard, you've got a small Centurion squad. I do like the small Centurion squad, but I think that they benefit a bit from having some sort of transport to get them across the table. Centurions do only move 4 inches, which is tragically bad. Yeah, the Judiciar does have a precision weapon as well, Curtis. Thanks for pointing that out, if anyone wasn't aware of it. We've got the squad of Infiltrators, and we've got double Predator Destructor. I still think there's a lot of strength in those Predator Destructors. I make them do damage every single week on my stream. So double Predator Destructor, I think, is no bad thing. It's really no bad thing. You've got the 6 Sangre Guard, which I do hope will go down in points a little bit. And then you've got a squad of Scouts, and you've got a squad of Terminators. The one thing I would say about this list is, beyond your Impulsors, you don't have anything really to do actions. And I think that might be the weakness of this list. The Destructor is king. So how long until the Legends the Land Raider? I really want one, but I'm afraid of 9th. Amakish, this is a huge issue in the hobby, and it's an issue that I've mentioned so many times. Games Workshop will not tell us which units are staying and which units are going. And basically what's done for me, man, is I just don't buy Firstborn stuff anymore. It's too risky. But, like, I would have bought more Firstborn stuff, probably. So they've lost revenue from me because they won't tell us what's staying and what's going. I don't know how we could make them do that, because I guess it doesn't align with their business or something, but it's quite frustrating. Okay, this is my second time submitting a list. I have been convinced about the Predator Destructors, so I have 2 in my list. Yeah, I mean, the Destructors are awesome. I would have probably bought a 3rd Destructor, actually, if they had... if they'd actually said the Predator Destructor was going to last for a bit longer. I've got the Judiciar with Gift of Foresight for guaranteed dev wounds against enemy characters and Fight First, leading 6 Blade Guard holding the safer objective, and also the Impulsor for actions. I have the Terminator Librarians with Fight First sustained hits for the middle objective, with the 5 Terminators and Deep Strike, which basically replaces our 5-man Death Company with Power Fist now. I have a Blood Angels Captain with the boatloaded dev wounds and the Chainsword. Which is just going to pop on the most expensive any unit he can. I have Mephisto to support the Blade Guard or Terminators. I have Dante in the Sangre Guard and Deep Strike. I have all swords, a banner, and an Infernal Pistol. Yeah, I think that's the way you run them. I have Infiltrators for the home objectives. I have Scouts. I have Centurions reserved to go for a big enemy monster or vehicle with a good rapid ingress. Wish you all the best. My wife loved seeing your kid open the box yesterday. We have a kid due in a week. We hope to do the same one day. Dude, congratulations on having a kid. I hope everything goes well with... it sounds like it's your first kid, man. Just remember, kids are the best thing you'll ever do, dude, but they're the hardest thing you'll ever do. So, stay strong. I like your list, but I think that you've gone too killy, right? Like, you've got lots of things that can kill shit, but you really only have those 2 Impulsors. And my experience tells me that I think I guess you've got 1 squad of Scouts, but I don't think that's enough. That's like 3 scoring units. My tournament list had 5 scoring units, 2 units of Jump Intercessors, 2 units of Outriders, and a unit of Scouts. The list that I played this week that did okay in scoring, not quite as strong, had 4 scoring units, which was 2 Outriders, 2 Assault Intercessors with jump packs. I do have an Impulsor in there as well that can score with. So I think you need 5 or 6 units that will score points in Pariah Nexus, or score secondaries, I guess. I don't know if I, like, in my tournament list, I didn't really count the Infiltrators that sit on my home field objective, because, Highland Phoenix just mentioned those in the chat, there is Infiltrators on there. I don't know if you can count them Highland Phoenix, because their job is to sit on your home field objective. If you get cleanse or behind enemy lines or any of the other ones that basically say you need to be out of your home field objective, those infiltrators aren't doing anything. Yeah, occasionally you'll pull like defend stronghold or something, but I don't really count them as a scoring unit. So I would say 5 scoring units is is like 4 is maybe the absolute minimum. 5 is good, 6 is great. And my tournament list had 6, right? 2 assault intercessors with jump packs, 2 outriders, a squad of scouts, and an impulsor. 6 units that can perform actions, and I'm not losing all that much from it. And this list has 3. So you have to get rid of something. The thing that stands out in this list that you possibly could get rid of is the Centurions. They're basically almost costing you 2 scoring units. You could put in a unit of outriders, put in a unit of assault intercessors. You probably have to lose one of these enhancements. I think all the enhancements have good value. But I think it would be hard to not do that. And I think if you only have 3 scoring units, you'll struggle in the secondary game. I mean, unless you're going to be doing actions with Mephiston, I mean, that is possible. He is a lone operative. I just don't know if that's particularly something you want to be doing with Mephiston, who's 120 points, when you can do it with a unit of scouts that's 65 points, right? So, I think in terms of the units you've picked, Brandon, they're strong. I like the synergies. I actually really like your Warlord traits. I think this is a Warlord trait combo that we hadn't even seen before, so good job on that. But I think you need to think about... I always tell people, play the list. Go play the list a couple of times, and I think you'll probably ended up going, yeah, I'm struggling to have units to do secondaries. Because you never want to be doing like a secondary with Dante and a 6 Angry Guard, right? You just don't want to be doing it. You want to be doing it on a cheap unit of scouts, something like that. So it's I think the list, all the combinations are all good, but I think it needs something tweaked. Jeremy says, something I've always wanted to ask, as a new parent of a 1-month-old, how do you balance the hobby with the attention of your wife and your kids? Do you know what? I found it was easier when they were the young, Jeremy, because they sleep a lot. But now my kids, like, once your kids, so my kids are 2 and 4, and the bedtime is 7 o'clock, right? So I go to bed at like midnight, half midnight. So we start bedtime at 7 o'clock. Usually I can have both kids asleep by like 7:30. So I got 5 hours every night. So I just balance it. In my terms, I actually do very little hobby. I'd like to do more hobby, but I spend a lot of time doing YouTube. So I sort of balance it that I do a bunch of YouTube stuff and I do a bunch of stuff with my wife. I actually do very little hobby. I'm fortunate to have a lot of my Blood Angels already painted. I would like to do more hobby, but like you said, it's a balancing act. But yeah, I think kids sleep for like 12, 13 hours. I think there's like, if you Google it, how much sleep do kids need daily? It's a lot, man. You would be surprised. There's like a chart on Google that'll tell you like under 1 they need 12 to 16 hours a day. From 1 to 3 they need 11 to 14. So yeah, I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they basically they both sleep like 13 hours a day. I don't know about you, but I generally sleep 6.5, 7. You know, so that's where your time comes from, I guess. Jeremy, your list is next. So hello, Jeremy. Thanks for Bear needs 12 to 16 hours a day sleep. Dude, you're sleeping your life away. The problem with the repulsor v the Land Raider is the assault ramp is missing. I don't think the assault ramp's that important anymore, dude. Not with the advance and charge, and not with the fact that Dante plus Sangre Guard fit nicely inside the repulsor. I ran a repulsor this week. It is 100 points cheaper than a Redeemer. I think it's good, man. Here's the thing. My repulsor got one shot by a knight, right? It hit me with a volcano cannon, which I believe is -5 or -6. I think it's -6 against Death Guard. So when you get hit with a volcano cannon, he hit me and wounded me twice. That's instantly, it's 8 plus d6 damage. So he's done 16 damage minimum, and he's got 2 more d6 to write. I mean, that one shot's a Land Raider as well, right? And you paid 105 more points for that Land Raider than you did for the Repulsor. So I think at that point, the Repulsor it's a good choice. If there's stuff in the meta that can just one-shot the vehicle, then would you not rather have the cheaper vehicle and work and play around the other problem? And the assault ramp isn't really a problem, because turn 1 you can actually just advance the Repulsor forward. That if everything's coming out with jump packs, their threat range is insane. So the assault ramp is meaningless. Sorry, at that point. Maybe if you're putting like Blade Guard inside a Land Raider, that would be better. The Repulsor got dropped to 180 points. So 180 for toughness 12, 16 wounds. It does have one worse save than the Land Raider. So the Land Raider save on 2s, the Repulsor saves on 3s. But like I said, if you're fighting Death Guard and you're on AP 6, does 2-up save mean anything over a 3-up save? Not really. Are the Flesh Tearers even mentioned in the new codex? Have you not got the new codex? I actually haven't gone through the lower section, I must admit. I've got 3 days off later this week, so I was planning on having a look at the codex properly later this week. I'm off work Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. Alright, Jeremy's list. We've got Dante. Oh, this is the Angelic Host. Okay, cool. So this is the first time we've been looking at this. So we've got Dante with the Gleaming... Dante can't take the Gleaming Pinions, unfortunately. You can't give relics to named characters, Jeremy, so you will have to change this. This is why in my video I said it might be better to use a captain with a Sangre Guard for this detachment because of the Gleaming Pinions. You've got Astaroth in reserve, you've got Mephisto, and you've got the Sanguinor in reserve. Okay, you've got 10 Death Company in reserve, I assume, with Astaroth. You've got 6 Sangre Guard with Dante. You've got 10... or 2 squads of 5 Assault Intercessors with jump packs. You know what? I've played the Assault Intercessors in 10s. I think they're better in 5s. You get an extra Power Fist and an extra Plasma Pistol, I believe, in each squad in 5s. So I think if you've got them in 2 5s, you get 4 Plasma Pistols and 2 Power Fists. If you got them in a 10, I think you can get 3... So you lose a Plasma Pistol and a Power Fist by having them in 10s. And I think it just gives you... like... Assault Intercessor jump packs, they're going to perform actions at some point during the game, so you want them in 5s, you don't want the 10-man stuck all doing actions. You got Scouts, you got Infiltrators, you got 2 units of Plasma Inceptors, you got Predator, Baal, and then you've got 2 Destructors. Okay, so jump pack wise, you've got the 2 units of Inceptors, you get the 2 units of Assault Intercessors, you got the Sangre Guard and the Death Company, and then you've got a bit of fire support. You will need fire support in this detachment because it doesn't have a ton of ways to deal with armor and stuff like that. Yeah, and you need to swap the Dante thing around. 1 second, hold on. I was going to say this. I say they go to bed at 7:30. It's 20 to 9, and my daughter's messing around upstairs. So I guess the trick, Jeremy, is to just ignore them when they're messing around and they're supposed to be in bed. McDermott said, "Hey, hello. I noticed one person submitted through the community tab post. Is that the method most people use to submit?" Yes, please. Just post your list on any post that's on the community tab, just the most latest one, McDermott, or McDerpinton, and I will pick it up and get it on the show. Yeah, I think in the Angelic Host attachment, you could go with like Double Gladiator Lancer. I think that would be okay.
McFatson donated $5 via Super Chat. Our aggressive's viable melee out of a repulsor instead of a Land Raider. Running Forest Storm so I could assault plus shoot round 1, disembark plus charge round 2.
The repulsor's probably not going to be the right vehicle for aggressors. Yeah, I mean the reason it doesn't matter for Blood Angels, I guess now, is the advance and charge stratagem, and most of the time you can put jump pack units now in the repulsor, right? Could it be worth contemplating 3 Fleablade Warglavies for anti-armor? The Warglavies are the ones with the Melta rifles and the chainswords, right? I mean, those are strength 12 Melta rifles. They just have short range. I mean, it might work. Highland Phoenix, that might be interesting, actually, is like 3 Warglavies with just the rest of the unit, like the rest of the list, just all back jump pack units. I mean, I could see that. I could see that. I'm not entirely sure. So scoring-wise, this is where this list maybe is going to fall down a little bit. That's why I think you should for sure split these Assault Intercessors. So you got one unit of Scouts, you got the 2 units of Assault Intercessors, so you've got like 3 scoring units. Technically, the Sanguinor could score stuff. Technically, Mephiston could score stuff with their lone operative nonsense. But, yeah, I think that you know, like, the strength of this list is the strength of the Angelic Host Detachment is supposed to be about scoring, picking up, putting stuff down all over the map. So I think you want to try to maximize that with, like, I think you want 15 jump intercessors in that list. How you do that from where you currently are is, I think you would probably need to drop one of the characters. I guess it's Mephiston or the Sanguinor. And then potentially, I mean, the one other thing that we've got that's really good is Impulsors, but there isn't really a way to fit an Impulsor in this list. So Angelic Host is going to be a difficult detachment to play for. 1 unit of Scouts might not be enough. Mephiston doesn't belong in this attachment. I mean, he can't be picked up or dropped, so maybe Mephiston is on the chopping block. So you swap Mephiston out for a 2nd unit or 3rd unit of Jump Assault Intercessors. And then it's a case of, is there a better use of the 45 points you've got left over there to swap something else out? I'm really hoping Sangre Guard come down a little bit in points. The Ball Predator probably doesn't belong super in this detachment, but I mean, you know, the 45 extra points could give you 1 Gladiator Lancer. If you drop the Ball Predator, yeah, if you drop Mephisto and the Ball Predator for 250 points, you could actually change both of those into Lancers. Destructors are okay as well, but you could change those both into Lancers if you wanted. But the other thing is, if you drop Mephisto and the Ball Predator for 250 points, 250 points is another unit of Jump Intercessors for 80, and that leaves you 170. With 170, you could do an Impulsor and a unit of Assault Intercessors, or just something. They don't really need to kill stuff. You could even do regular Intercessors. So you're just coming out and trying to sticky some objectives. An Impulsor is a scoring unit. Regular Intercessors are a scoring unit. You could sticky some things. I think you're on the right lines. I do think Inceptors are going to be good. I do think the Sangre Guard and the Death Company are going to be good. I do like the characters. I ran my list this week with the Predator Destructor in it. I do think Predator Destructors are still going to be a good choice for Blood Angels going into, you know, the end of the year or whatever. The Ball Predator is much faster now, that is true. But I do think that 3 scoring units is not enough things to perform actions. Okay, we're on to Jason. I think Jason was in chat. Yeah. Okay, so we've got Jason looking at a lag list. He has Astroth with the Death Company. He has the Captain with the Rage-Fueled... he gave the Captain to the Jump Intercessors. Okay. We've got a Biologist with Speed of the Primarch with Aggressors. Interesting, we don't ever really see Blood Angels players take Aggressors, but Fight First Aggressors could be pretty cool. He's got them with a Repulsor. He's got the Ball Predator. He's got a single Lancer. I actually don't like a single Lancer, Jason. I think if you're going to do Lancers, you kind of have to go double. Just because I kind of feel like 2 shots is 2 shots is too swingy. Their gun is very good, but 2 shots is just too swingy. You got Librarian with the Terminators. I think we're going to see lots of people take Terminator Librarians. I think it's pretty good. We've got the Infiltrators. We've got a unit of Scouts. We've got Heavy Intercessors. I was going to say, they 100 points. Okay. You've got the Blood Angels, Captain, the Company Heroes. Yay! Company Heroes. Someone else did it. Hello, Rezio. The lists are named lag now. Yeah, Liberator Assault Group, Rezio. I don't make up the names. I would have called it... what would I have called it? I'll think on it. The plan is to put the Aggressors in the Repulsor, the Death Company with Astaroth Rapid in turn 2, the Terminators in Deep Strike, and free Rapid in turn 3. Why do they get a free Rapid? Oh, why do they get a free Rapid? The Repulsor has a similar firepower output as the Predator Destructor. It does, actually. I kind of like the Repulsor ability. If the unit of 3 is selected and they can jump into it, it could give a scoring unit a second chance at life. Yeah, I used that just last week. Angelic Sanguinary Squad. Ass. I like it, Bad Francis. Yeah, I would have called it ass. Oh, the Teleport Homer. Potential free Teleport Homer. Okay. Yes, cool. Do you know what? I suppose a Repulsor and a Lancer together, you make a good point. That does give you like 5 las cannon shots. That's probably enough to do some damage to a target. You've got the Terminators, which we're seeing a lot of now. We've got the Infiltrators with the Scouts, Heavy Intercessors, the big squad of Aggressors, which is interesting, the big squad of Death Company. No Sanguinary Guard. Interest. A lot of people are on the fence with Sanguinary Guard. 300 points is 300 points is, I guess, making people doubt the Sanguinary Guard at the moment. Matthew says, what's the thoughts on including Lieutenant with the Company Heroes for lethals? I think the Company Heroes, when I use them, usually when I go into fight, man, I would use Red Rampage on them, I feel like. So I don't know if I feel like I'd get enough value out of the Lieutenant. I know the Lieutenant's pretty cheap these days. He's like 60 points or something. But the reason that I really like the Company Heroes and the Captain is because they are so cheap, right? Like it's 170 points for, what is it, like 21 wounds at -1 to wound? Scouts and Heavy Intercessors are your 2 units here for actions. I think that's the biggest thing I'm seeing with this list. So I don't play Ball Predators. I've tried playing them a couple of times. I understand what they do. But for me, I seem to get more utility out of Impulsors. That's why, like, I have a Ball Predator, but I don't really run it. Whereas I would run 2 Impulsors. Because I think the Impulsor... it's still a toughness 9 body, it's still 11 wounds, it's got an invuln save, you can park it on an objective, you can score stuff, you can tank shock stuff. Yeah, the Ball Predator will sometimes be able to flame infantry and be pretty useful. I just don't know if I feel that... Like, the Ball Predator, for me, shuts down enemy infantry movement. I don't usually have too much trouble killing enemy infantry, right? Like, we've got lots of stuff that will kill enemy infantry. So enemy infantry doesn't always shout to me, like, this is the big problematic thing that I need to deal with. So because of that, I think I say, if this was my list, I'd possibly think about losing the Ball Predator. And I might even, because the Ball Predator doesn't, like at 125, I can't do too much with that. But I feel like if I took out the Heavy Intercessors, if I changed them out to like a squad of Outriders and saved 20 points, then I have like 140 points. That would give me a second Scout squad and another unit of Jump Assault Intercessors. I played Heavy Intercessors a lot. I like them. I do like them as a unit. I think their guns are useful. I think they're pretty durable. but I don't know if I feel like that's the unit that I need. Like, heavy intercessors for me feel like they're sitting on a side field objective. Like, they're not going center board usually. They would be sitting on my home field objective or side field objective. Well, you got infiltrators to sit on your home field objective, so they're going to side field objective. How many turns does it take you to get heavy intercessors to the side field objectives? Like 2 or 3 turns? Well, I just do that in turn 1 with a unit of outriders for 80 points. They move 18 inches. So I just jump onto the side field objectives with my cheaper outriders. Yeah, I suppose outriders have less wounds and less toughness, but I think they make up for it with the speed that they have and the fact that they actually have like a lot of chainsword attacks. Don't get me wrong, I like heavies as well, Rezio. I just don't think they fit with my current way of playing Pariah Nexus, I guess. Like, I really put... Like, I would say possibly the best units on my list are, like, my cheap jump intercessors and my cheap outriders. Like, those things just provide so good value every single game. And I was the person on here, like, flaming out... I flamed outriders for the, like, longest time, saying that they're a crock of absolute dogs. Okay, hold on a minute. We've got a crazy Death Company list coming in next. So... Yeah, I don't know how I feel about heavy intercessors. I took them in my Gladius Task Force GT list, which was a very Gravis heavy list. I mean, yeah, they're not a bad unit, don't get me wrong, but I just think that, like, I want more things that can score, and I think outriders seem to just always provide value for me. I don't know what it is. Okay, so we're looking at Astaroth plus 10 Death Company, Lamartus plus 10 Death Company, 2 Death Company Dreadnoughts. So these guys are way overcosted at the moment. They're like 60 points too expensive. I can't imagine anyone would be fielding these. You've got 10 Death Company on foot in a Land Raider Redeemer. You've got 6 Blade Guard with a Chaplain, the Speed of the Primarch, and an Impulsor. That is a very good choice. I ran this week. It was crazy strong. Those Blade Guard with Speed of the Primarch and the Chaplain are so good now. I would say they're my MVP unit from last week's battle report. So when they get charged, they get 30 attacks now. They can reroll 1s to hit, and they're strength 6 with +1 to wound. They are so good now. And obviously they can fight first. Finally got the Lieutenant with the combi weapon. It works out as 2,000 points exacts. There's nothing to hold my backfield. It's just a major YOLO army. So what's going to happen is they are going to drop these Death Company Dreadnoughts by 80 points, and you can put a unit of intercessors in to hold your backfield objective. As it stands, this will not be a competitive list. You have literally 1 unit that can perform actions, which is your Impulsor. Oh, 2, I suppose, your Lieutenant. This is a fun list, Maximus. I mean, it'll be cool to put all these black models on the table. I honestly think, like, so if this was me right now, I just wouldn't run these as Death Company Dreadnoughts, just run them as Brutalises, because the Brutalis is 60 points less. You can still use Advance and Charge. Yeah, Bodeswell just said it in chat. I was about to say that. So you can still use Advance and Charge on those Brutalises. They're 60 points less. That gives you another 120 points. So that's your unit of Infiltrators for the backfield. Or that's a unit of Blade Guard that can stand in the backfield. Or that's a unit of Heavy Intercessors. And I don't think you really lose anything. I'm also not entirely sure 10 Death Company on foot in a Redeemer. Well, for one, I would make it 2 5s, because you get more weapon options in 2 5s than you do in a single 10. Hello, Zund. Good evening. I've kind of gone off the Redeemer. Like I said, there's certain armies that will just one-shot your Redeemer. And if your Redeemer gets one-shotted, it's pretty bad feeling right round. I was actually lucky in that, like, So I'd actually built a list that had a Redeemer and a regular Land Raider. And I actually thought the list was really good. And it was going to be the list I took to the GT that I eventually won. And until I played against, it was Grey Knights. And the Grey Knights had a Castellan ally. And basically, turn one, he blew up one Land Raider from fucking 70 inches away with his -5 volcano cannon. And then the second turn, he just blew up the other Land Raider, because Land Raiders are super big and super difficult to hide. So if you come into, like, Tau, or anyone that's allied with a Knight, or whatever, I think the Redeemer is a bit of a trap now. Like, it was good. It was really good. But I don't know if I still rate it. I'm not playing it. I much prefer impulsors, because here's the thing: people actually do want to kill Redeemers, right? Because they're like, oh, there's a Land Raider with a crap load of flamers on it. I feel okay shooting my big -5 volcano cannon at the Land Raider, because if I kill it, you've lost a lot of stuff. If you split this into 2 5-man Death Company in 2 impulsors, for one, you actually save yourself like 125 points. So if you change these Dreadnoughts, and you change this into 2 impulsors rather than the Redeemer, you can actually almost fit in 2 Baal Predators. I'd rather have 2 Baal Predators than the Death Company Dreadnoughts and the Redeemers, right? Or you could have like 3 units of Jump Intercessors to do all sorts of shenanigans all over the map. So you've got those. So then the question becomes, if they do have a big Knight, do they want to really shoot a Impulsor with their giant volcano cannon? Well, they actually don't want to shoot your Impulsor, because one, the Impulsor is not a threat at all. It's got like fucking 10 bolters on, 10 strength 4 bolt guns on it, right? It's no threat to them at all. So they don't want to shoot it. And they also don't want to shoot it because it's got a 5-up invuln. And if you watch my battle report this week, he actually hit my Impulsor with the volcano cannon, and it had 8 wounds left, and obviously it does 8 plus d6 damage, so it would have been instantly dead. So I failed to save, and I was like, ah, fuck, Portugal just scored. Yeah. That's derailed me. Yeah. Then I knew it was a low percentage. It's like 1 in 3 chance. But I was like, I'm going to try and save my Impulsor for 1 CP, just because I think it's going to cause problems. It's going to waste his turn of shooting. So I would. I mean, you already got an Impulsor here, but if you got 3 of them, there's your. They'll do all your scoring for you now, and we just freed you up 250 points. You could have a Baal Predator to do the flamer stuff, and you could have something else totally new. Mazda says, one thing I like about Blood Angels is the extra strength that makes strength 10 makes them feel flexible. Plus the Librarian strat. If you're already wounded on 2s and 3s, you go for lethal, sustained, oath, all since you hit on 2+. Yeah. That Terminator is actually the Librarian leading the Terminators. Mazda is one of the best combos you can have. Yeah. Alright, Octob is a new channel member, and he submitted a lag list which has a captain with a jump pack, a chaplain with a jump pack, and a lieutenant. So he's got a bunch of characters, but no named ones, and they're a bit cheaper. We've got assault intercessors, we've got the double impulsor, we got 10 assaults with jump packs, we got another 10 assaults with jump packs, we got 5 with jump packs. I think I just... oh, shit. I thought I deleted a bracket. No, I didn't. We've got the Baal Predator, we got Ballistus Dreadnought, we got 3 Blade Guard, we got Company Heroes, we got Infiltrators, we got 3 Outriders, we've got Annihilator. So Ballistus Dreadnought, Annihilator, and a Vindicator tank. I mean, it's just decent fire support. We've got the Scouts. We've got the Infiltrators. What's interesting is he's gone like super cheap, right? Like there's no Death Company here, there's no Sanguinary Guard here. Death Company now coming in at 115 points. I think it is worth having some Death Company. So he's got the Chaplain on foot with Assault Intercessors. He's got a Captain with a squad of Company Heroes. He's got a jump with 5 Intercessors and a jump with 10 Intercessors. Interesting that he didn't put the Chaplain with the 10. Like, I would definitely attach the characters to this... Sorry, I definitely attach the characters to the guys that have 10s rather than rather than 5s, right? Like, I don't see any reason to attach a chaplain to a 5-man squad when you've got a free 10-man squad they could attach to. I also don't know if I feel like jump intercessors alone have enough damage output. Like, there's no Blade Guard, there's no Sanguinary Guard, there's no Death Company. There's 3 Blade Guard, but I feel like 3 Blade Guard if they're your only 2 damage melee in your entire army, I don't think you're going to have a great Blood Angels game. You need a good amount of 2 damage melee. I mean, if this was a 6 Blade Guard, I would be saying you still need more 2 damage melee because far too much of the army weight is going to rely on these Blade Guard. So for me, if this was me, I would be cutting these jump intercessor squads to 5s. I think 3 5s is good. I don't know if I feel like they necessarily need a captain or chaplain leading them. You've got a lieutenant with the Blade Guard. I don't know if I attach a lieutenant. I don't think I attach characters to a 3-man squad as well. I don't think, like, it's 65 points. I think if I would just rather find the extra 25 points and just make that 6 Blade Guard. Like, I don't know if attaching a character to 3 feels worth it. We don't see many people doing that. Why are the new detachments not feeling very unique, says Rezio. I mean, the first detachment is pretty good, I thought, Rezio. I think it's probably stronger than Sons of Sanguinius. I don't know. People are maybe thinking it's not unique because we lost a bunch of the Firstborn units. I think that's probably the more pressing thing. So we got 126 people watching tonight, and we only got 65 likes. So I guess half the people in chat didn't hit the like button. So if you've got 2 seconds, guys, do really love it if you would hit the like button. It would really help me out. Thank you. So yeah, I think this list would need some more 2 damage melee. I mean, a Vindicator tank, a Predator Annihilator, and a Ballistus Dreadnought is some good anti-tank fire support. I do think it's nice to have some fire support. I think Outriders are good. I think Assault Intercessors are good. I think Scouts are good. I think the Double Impulsor is good. So you've got a lot of scoring units. I just don't think you have any really... You don't have anything that's... You don't have enough that's benefiting from the Red Thirst. Having played the Red Thirst now for, I don't know, like 6 months, I think I've been playing this detachment. My win rate really went up when I started committing to like 12 or 1300 points that gets the most out of the Red Thirst attachment. So that's what you need to be aiming for. So like, what's getting the most out of the plus two strength and +1 attacks? Well, yes, chainswords do get a good amount out of that, but power fists get more. Sanguinary Guard arguably get more now. And Sanguinary Guard are very good at anti-elite now, I think. So, I guess maybe we have to wait to see if Sanguinary Guard come down a little bit in points. I know they're super expensive right now and maybe people are staying away from them. Yeah, I think Grain of Truth might be hitting the nail on the head there. In that, like, the detachments are fine, but there is a sort of genericification. The Primaris Marines have generified Space Marines in general, or Blood Angels in general. This is your list, October Bull. Okay. No problem. I hope I'm... Like, my list at the moment... Well, maybe more importantly was like my list that I took to the tournament. So the tournament... When I went to a tournament, I had 20 guys, like, across various squads, that had weapons that do 2 damage per swing. And because we're Blood Angels, most guys get 4 or 5 attacks. So I don't think I want a lot less than 20 guys that have 2 damage per swing in 4 or 5 attacks. And at the same time, I'm spending 12 or 1300 points on my list on melee combat, right? Like, if I just take my list that I ran this week, I had 6 Blade Guard, I had 6 Sanguinary Guard, and I had 10 Death Company, of which 5 of them have 2 damage weapons, right? Because you're allowed 3 Power Fists and 2 Eviscerators. So basically, if you look at the list that I ran this week, I had 22 models on the board that had a weapon that had 4 or 5 attacks that does 2 damage a swing. And I think that's sort of like the bare minimum. Like, you need 20 models that do 2 damage a swing minimum to be getting the most probably out of Blood Angels. If you don't have that, because you need those moments in the game where it's like, oh, I just charged you with 6 Blade Guard, I completely wipe your squad, pick every single model up, and they'll Blade Guard don't take any damage, and then they'll move on to the next target, right? And if you're not getting that consistently in the game at least 1 or 2 times, you know, like you're jumping in with 10 assault jump intercessors, whatever they're called, I wish they just called them jump intercessors. They're called assault marines with jump. I was going to say, it's getting towards the end of the stream, my fucking brain is going. They're called assault intercessors with jump packs. But on the box, they called them fucking jump intercessors. No, they didn't. They called them jump pack intercessors in the box. So they called them jump pack intercessors in the box, but in the codex they called them assault intercessors with jump packs, just to keep me on my toes, just to fuck with me, basically. Quite often, a 5-man unit of jump assault intercessors will go into the enemy, and they're not going to kill your enemy, right? Even if you put oath a moment on the enemy, they'll just weaken them. You'll probably do the same even with a 10-man squad. Whereas, like, quite often, if you jump in with a squad of Death Company, you should wipe the enemy, or something like that. So I just think that's something you need to consider. I mean, I've only played 1 game of Lag, or I've only played 1 game of Liberator Salt Group, so take it with a pinch of salt. But I think that we want at least 20 models that are swinging for 2 damage. If we have less than that, then I think we're going to have a tough time just to clear. A Grain of Truth says James Workshop works in mysterious ways. What did I miss? No, just because they messed up. They messed up the names. Yeah, someone said the funniest comment on yesterday's unboxing video. Because it was like, somebody said James Workshop has taken away our Spider-Man costume. I honestly thought that was so funny. So yeah. The Sanguinary Guard wings are the Spider-Man costume now. Right, so we're on to the last list for tonight, and this is by Bobo Baggins. We were talking about Lord of the Rings earlier. Let me just catch up on the super chat from Brandon. Hi, Blood Angels Commander. Thanks for this review. It's the first baby. I'll definitely consider scoring units. Have a great Sunday. Well, yeah. Congratulations on having your first child, man. It's such a great feeling. Your whole world is about to change. Everything changes after the first kid. But yeah, I hope it goes well. Thank you so much for the support. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be. It's great, man. Kids are the best thing you'll ever do, honestly. I had so much fun unboxing the new box with Michael yesterday. Like, it was just, he enjoyed it as well, actually, because I wasn't really sure if but he just likes getting his fingers into things, you know, like anything he can touch, Michael's involved in. All right, so we're looking at a lag list. We start with Dante and 3 Sanguinary Guard. I'm not sure I love only taking 3 Sanguinary Guard with Dante. I feel like you want to take the 6, but yeah, I mean, the problem is they cost so much at the moment. Wait until the kids are 22. Well, yeah, I mean, they do get more expensive, I'm sure. You got the Terminator Chaplain with a fight first and 10 Terminators. This is probably pretty good. But just so you know, if you're planning on charging a lot with the Terminators, you can do more damage with the Librarian than the Chaplain. The Chaplain is good, though, especially if you are being charged. You've got Mephisto, and you've got the 3 units of Jump Pack Intercessors, great. You've got the 3 units of Jump Pack Death Company. I'm actually interested to see how small units of Jump Pack Death Company will fare now. I'm not entirely sure. You've got the 3 units of Scouts, you've got 2 units of Plasma Inceptors, and you've got units of Infiltrators. So you're very light on anti-tank beyond that one unit, that one big unit of Terminators is going to have to do, and that's why I sometimes say is like, this unit feels like it's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting, right? Like this unit of Terminators is going to have to, I'm trying to think how much a unit of Terminators like that costs. They cost like 450 points probably by the time you put the Fight First enhancement in there. So units are kitted out as one would expect. Swords of the Sanguinary Guard, Max Fist Eviscerators, and the Jump Pack Death Company. It's a pretty basic list that likes to and can score secondaries for 5 turns pretty reliably. Yeah, I mean, like 3 units of scouts, 3 units of jump pack intercessors, amazing for scoring secondaries. Sorry, I got myself distracted there. So pretty basic list that scores 5 while providing much needed punch thanks to the Sanguinary Guard and Terminators. I'm not entirely sure that 3 Sanguinary Guards do that much punch. I ran them with 6 with Dante this week. They've lost a lot of their damage output. It's down like 60%. Yes, they have some more AP, but most of the time, well, for example, like this week when I played Death Guard, AP means nothing most of the time, because most of the time I'm fighting units with invuln saves. The Terminators always start in reserve. They're going to rapid ingress, and Terminators have a huge advantage now from rapid ingress, especially with the fight first. So you can rapid ingress them super aggressively. You can even let the opponent charge them now, because you're like, yeah, well, if you do charge me, I'm just going to fight you first. You get the Chaplain, you get the permanent +1 to wound. You can get your full attacks when you're charged as well from the new stratagem. Savage Echoes, yeah. So the Terminators are much better now, and the fact they can advance and charge after the rapid ingress is much better too. So Terminators for Blood Angels have got a lot better. I guess time will tell if we see a lot of people playing Terminators, right? Best case scenario is a rapid ingress into a heroic intervention with them, but even the threat alone can be enough to dictate the engagement. Obviously, it requires measuring and movement distance after your opponent's units, and also some screening to properly set it up. Yeah, I mean, if you can rapid ingress and heroic intervention 11 Terminators, that's huge now, because they do get their +1 attack and +2 on the charge. After that, they pretty much threaten whatever wants to get close to the middle while holding the middle objective. Mephiston has been amazing so far, holding objectives in the open. Jump Pack Intercessors, Jump Pack Death Company help a lot by killing screening units so that shooting threats can't get into low op range. Turn 3, 4, 5, you can start moving forward, leaving some scouts or similar on the objective. I like the flexibility that the Inceptors offer, which allows surgical strikes where needed, while also being great at screening as well. Dante and the boys are a great combo to have. 6 have been too many in my experience, and it feels bad where 5 or 6 die to a single Demolisher. I don't play against a lot of Demolishers, but yeah, that's a good point, I guess. 3 plus Dante still deal a lot of damage. 3 Sanguinary Guard plus Dante is 15, 24? 24 AP3 shots? AP3 2 damage? I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's better than I maybe thought it was. I really think Sanguinary Guard are going to come down in price. I don't think they're going to stay at 150, but I guess time will tell. The glue holding everything together, the Inceptors, the Jump Pack, and the Death Company and Scouts, not only for scoring points, but also screening and move blocking. You do have the Infiltrators in there as well. For example, to keep the Terminators from getting shot too often. Okay, so it's 100... I would say it's like... It's basically 100% all melee list. You could swap out those 2 units of Plasma Inceptors for 2 units of... for 2 Predator Destructors, right? And it would cost the same, because 3 Plasma Inceptors are 130 points. Plasma Inceptors are fucking crazy expensive, man. I don't even know if I feel Plasma Inceptors are that good, because they do have Hazardous. But yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to play, fine. Yeah, 130 points for the Plasma Inceptors. I'd much rather have a Destructor. I think my Destructors hang around for the whole game, 48-inch range. I think I prefer the Destructors for sure over the Plasma Inceptors, but I mean, each to their own, right? 3 units of Jump Intercessors and 3 units of Scouts gives you some good secondary scoring. The Terminators are going to have to do a lot of work, so they're going to have to be very good placement of those rapid ingress with the Terminators. You're going to have to get the most out of those. I would probably, if this was my list, I'd probably actually start at least 1 unit of Death Company Jump Packs in reserve. I'd probably start at least 1 unit of Jump Intercessors also in reserve. There is no... Oh, I guess the reason he's maybe got the Chaplain with the Terminators is that gives him at least the ability to get some of those Death Company OC as well. It's going to be a big footprint to rapid ingress, yes. I mean, I had to rapid ingress 10 Sanguinary Guard the whole time at the event that I was at, Hell in Phoenix, and that can actually be pretty difficult. The one thing that like this list misses is like cheap impulsors that can sit on objectives and can score points. And I guess you can do that with Mephiston. But I think that like every game I play, I see there's a lot of value in Outriders. I see there's a lot of value in impulsors. And I do see Blood Angels, like competitive Blood Angels lists do have like a skew towards impulsors. Like impulsors are very, very good for Blood Angels at the moment. Yeah, I mean, you would, the defending player has priority in the fight phase, not for charging units. So charging always fights first, and then the defending player has priority, right? So this is an interesting list. This isn't the sort of list that I would run personally. I think that I get more value having... This is a little bit less killing stuff, maybe, and a little bit more durability. I mean, I have to try Mephiston, because it seems like a lot of people really like Mephiston. Bilbo Baggin, there you are. How you doing? A lot of people seem to really like Mephiston. I'm going to have to try him. I do worry about his D3 damage, but I guess you can get value out of his lone operative nonsense. Most of the stuff that I used to... Like... What was it, like Plague Burst Crawlers used to be a huge problem. They would kill you indirectly. Well, it doesn't even matter really anymore. Plague Burst Crawlers, like the nerfed indirect fire usually means that I feel like I can hold objectives with units and not have to worry so much now. I don't know. Last time I played Chaos Knights, the indirect fire was huge. The nerf that they took to indirect fire was huge, right? Like... Chaos Knights used to be able to kill like a whole squad of intercessors every turn, anywhere on the board with all their indirect, and now they kill like 1 or 2 models just because they no longer hit on 3s and stuff like that, I guess. So I don't know. This is an interesting list. It feels like there's a lot of weight on the Terminators. I hope the Sanguinary Guard come down in points. I do think personally I like the 6 Sanguinary Guard, but I mean 3+ Dante could be like a little tool. Could be cool. I mean, Dante's probably going to get died or killed the second they get gone on, but because I suppose it's like, I don't know, I don't really attach characters to 3-man Blade Guard units either. I usually just think at that point is, because that's the thing, right? You could have 6 Sanguinary Guard for almost the same price as 3+ Dante. I guess that's an interesting one, because Dante actually gives them the -1 to hit and wound and melee, whereas other units don't really get that. Yeah, okay, I mean, it's worth trying. It is a crap load of toughness 4 bodies, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't run 10 Terminators for a long time, and I haven't run it since the very start of 10th. I don't think I would run 10 Terminators. I think I'd run 5 plus a character. I have run that. I do like it. Even with Advance and Charge, Terminators are still really slow. So yeah. So that is it for this week. I hope you learned something. I hope that some of these lists gives you inspiration. We are going to be back doing army lists, I guess, every week. I mean, I'll miss the odd week, but I don't think I've got anything on my calendar next weekend, so I should be here next weekend to look at more army lists. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm going to go watch the last 10 minutes of the Scotland game. It is 1-1, so if Scotland do score, you will hear me screaming. Even if you're in America, you're going to hear me screaming. So, if there's a minor earthquake in the next 10 minutes, you'll know what it is. Have a great weekend, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Leave a like on the stream if you can. I'll set up a community post with what content's coming out this week, but there will be content as normal. Do you think bring 1 unit of Kill Team Marines will be worth it? Do you know what? I was going to borrow Andrew's Imperial Agents Codex this week, because I didn't buy Codex Imperial Agents, Phil. And Andrew said he would lend me the codex because he bought it. So I was gonna. I did a video on the assassins because some of the assassins are pretty good. So we did a video on the Grots channel this week about the assassins. Like we did a tier list of the assassins, and coming out this Thursday on the Grots channel, we also have the tier list for the Inquisitors. So we covered the Inquisitors and we covered the assassins. So I'm going to get the codex and we're going to cover the rest of the stuff. There's the link to the video in chat if you haven't seen it, so you can check that out. It was a good video. Thanks, man. It was a fun video, actually. It's always fun to record with Mark and Tony. So thanks so much for all the... There was a bunch of super chats tonight. I do really appreciate it. I think there was a new member or a new subscriber or two. Have a great week, guys. I will see you at some point. I'm sure I'll be live. And I'm sure I'll have some new Blood Angels content to drop in the next few days as well. And yeah, I will try and actually have a look at some of the lower stuff in the codex, because I barely have opened the codex since I got it yesterday. My wife was out like all day, so I was babysitting the kids all day. Or it's not really babysitting if you're looking after your own kids, but yeah, I was looking after the kids all day. So cool. All right. Wish me the best of luck. Scotland need to score in 10 minutes. We'll see you guys later. Good night.